All right, following up on that, a terrible attack on a Mormon church happened yesterday morning about 10:30 local time, Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. The assailant, a 40-year-old former U.S. Marine, from what we understand, rammed his pickup truck into the side of the building, began shooting, and at some point during that time frame also, it looks like, put some sort of accelerant, that means gasoline, set the church on fire. Total loss. At least 4 people have died as a result of all this chaos. Katie Heid from Michigan News Source here with me today. Katie, just another terrible story. Apparently, from what I understand, and you would know more probably, but no connection between this guy who lived nearby, a few miles away, to this congregation, to anybody there. No connection at all, except that he went and killed these people. What can you tell us?
It appears it may take a couple more days for police to investigate and figure out what the exact motive is, whether he had a connection to this church, to specific people in the church, whether he was an attender. There are all sorts of details that need to be worked out. But whenever those details come out, it doesn't erase the tragedy that has occurred in this community. And you went over it a little bit. This is what we know from the several press conferences that police, not just locally, but also Michigan State Police, the FBI, and the ATF gave yesterday. It happened around 10:25 in the morning. A man named Thomas Jacob Sanford, a 40-year-old man from nearby Burton, rammed his truck into the church. He got out of the truck and used what police called an assault rifle to shoot 10 people. Then he set the church on fire. They said that within 30 seconds of him arriving and them receiving word that this was going on, that law enforcement arrived on the scene. They were able to neutralize everything within 8 minutes, and they shot Sanford dead at the scene. But before he was shot, 10 people shot at that time. 2 people died, 8 in the hospital in various conditions. And then after the church burned, which is a total loss, law enforcement found 2 more bodies. They said yesterday, as they continue to secure the scene and put out the rest of the fires that may pop up after a huge burn like that they may find more victims. And it's just a tragic thing for this community. Because of the families it has touched, and because of the investigations that are ongoing today related to this, Grand Blanc Public Schools and Goodrich Schools, along with a private school in the Grand Blanc area, are closed today.
Yeah, all closed. Of course, there'll be a lot of speculation. There were some pictures I saw online of this assailant, this killer, wearing a Trump shirt. So, of course, that'll be the direction this is carried by those on the left side of the media, for sure. That'll be all they focus on. But what about this violence? I mean, targeting churches. It's another attack on another church. This one, it was burned to the ground, wasn't it? There's nothing, it's total loss.
There's total loss.
Yeah, so
yes,
what about this?
President Trump has addressed this. He was alerted and informed about the situation yesterday, and he had called it an attack on Christians. And I think if you sat a Christian and a Mormon in a room together, that they would have some differences. Their faith in who Jesus was and the inerrancy of the Bible, they believe things differently. But that's neither here nor there. When you live in America, you should be expected to go to your house of worship and leave with nothing more than peace and guidance and a sense of clarity for your life. Freedom of religion is one of those main principles this country was founded on, and you should not be leaving with a sense of terror or in a body bag. And these types of situations, this violence that has been unleashed for whatever reason, needs to be addressed. And as we figure out the motive, we need to move forward, I think, as houses of worship in this nation, to figure out what a secure place of worship looks like. What are they going to do to protect their congregation? What's a plan that they're laying out if someone who comes in and looks odd and doesn't belong? What is our plan of attack to protect our parishioners? And this is something, unfortunately, that we have to have this conversation moving forward, because it's the world that we live in.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, Steve, where we're going to have to look at it, and it's so unfortunate.
Well, another one of the stories at MichiganNewsSource.com today, one of your top stories today, an anti-Semitic ranter who terrorized preschoolers at a Jewish school, Temple Beth El, sentenced to nearly 3 years. This happened December 22. Hassan Shukir showed up outside the Temple Beth El in Bloomfield Hills, threatening everybody, parents, students. So he's on his way to jail. This is another attack on people of faith, again in Michigan. But this guy is going to prison for 3 years, right?
Correct. Yep. He's going to prison and terrorizing not just people, but young children. We would all agree this is not something that we want to see. And so the principles that America stands on, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are things I believe that we need to get back to. What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to be a good neighbor? What does it mean to live in liberty and freedom within the confines of the law that has been in place, but also be able to disagree and say, I wouldn't walk into that house of worship. I wouldn't vote that way, but I don't want those people dead. And that's the chasm that we're seeing today, is that there is no middle ground of saying, you disagree, I see things another way, but I think we can go out and have a bite to eat together. There is such a divide. And
Yeah.
I don't know how you unify with people who disagree with you in such a hateful way, that people who perhaps want you dead because of what you're saying or how you're living. There's no unification with that. But I do think that it could be a time of reflection of what it means to live in America and be an American.
I agree with you, because my concern is it's going to get worse. It's a concern of a lot of folks. My concern is that just wearing a red hat in public might get you shot in the near future, just because that's the craziness and the insanity that's going on. Katie, I got to leave it there. Michigan News Source Assistant News Director Katie Heid, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. She's right. How do we live as Americans? How do we go have lunch with somebody we disagree with? Simply, you go ask them, hey, you want to have lunch? Don't have to agree, but do need to talk. Something that Charlie Kirk was right about. When we stop talking, that's when violence gets started. We'll take a break. It is the Steve Gruber Show. I'll be right back.